as the usage of this bronzer made me crazy. No, you're crazy. No, you're crazy. Welcome back. I've had too much coffee this morning. Or have I not had enough coffee? The eternal question. Here's my answer. Welcome back to the final Project Pan update of 2024. It is here, it has arrived somehow. I've been doing this for 12 months and managed to finish a lot of things, complete a lot of goals. I don't think that I have much to say in this intro other than it's been a good year. At the start of this, I think I set out to complete maybe 33, maybe 34 goals. And I think I did a pretty good job. We're gonna see, we're gonna see. Did I finish the last couple? Ooh. Are you intrigued? After 12 months, is there still mystery between us? This has gone to a weird place. We're just gonna see how I did. Was I successful? Let's get into it. Okay, first things first, as it always is, the Becca Under Eye Brightener. I had the goal of finishing this product. I used it 18 times in the month of January, 23 times in the month of February, 11 times in the month of March, 10 times in the month of April, 10 times in the month of May, 13 times in the month of June, 5 times in the month of July, 6 times in the month of August, 18 times in the month of September, and 5 times in the month of October before I finished it. Slowest math of my life. After 119 uses, I finished it. This one was a bit of a trudge. A couple months into the year, I started realizing that I don't love heavier products under the eye. Most of the days, I'd say that I would prefer not to have anything under my eye or just something with really kind of skin-like consistency. What is skin-like consistency? I don't want to know. Something with a very light, almost fluid-like consistency is my preference for under the eye. My eye bags have changed, friends. I'm 33, almost 34, and things are not the same as they were 5-6 years ago even. So I've really had to adjust, and one of those adjustments that I've had to make is being more mindful, being more intentional, being more thoughtful about what I put under my eye. I can't just put anything under there and expect it to just all work out. Not anymore anyways. I didn't really love using this. It still exists, I believe, as one of Becca's last products that's being sold. And I imagine if I had really deep or dark circles under my eyes, that this would be a wonderful product to have. But I like a little bit of darkness. I like the little bit of darkness that I have. I enjoy that. I don't tend to want a lot of coverage, and I tend to not enjoy heaviness under the eye. So because of that, I won't be repurchasing. I'm glad that I finished this, and it took me 119 uses in this project to do so. It is out of my life, out of my collection. I'm happy with that. Next up is a blush. It's the nudestix Nudies Matte. You would think I would write down the names. It's the nudestix blush that I have in the shade Bareback. This is a cream blush, and I set out to finish it. It is probably one of my favorite blushes that I have in my collection of blushes. I used it 12 times in the month of January, 25 times in the month of February, 22 times in the month of March, 4 times in the month of April, 4 times in the month of May, 7 times in the month of June, 15 times in the month of July, 12 times in the month of August, 13 times in the month of September, 13 times in the month of October, 14 times in the month of November, and 6 times in the month of December. And all of that use, decanting it out of its original container, putting it into a little pot, all of that use, and I have not finished it. I still have a little bit left in that pot. And because it's one of my favorite blushes, I wasn't like trying to use it in a way that was unnatural. I don't have a problem keeping it around. I didn't want to pretend to use it just for the sake of the project. I reached for it a lot, as you can see, probably the majority of the times that I was doing my makeup, and still I was not able to finish it. And I think what this shows me, what this tells me, is that always decant your cream blushes. Always decant, if you can, your cream products, because there's so much there in the base of the packaging. While I totally expected to finish this, I expected to finish this months ago, I am really proud of how much I used it. I gave it a good faith effort, as they say, I probably have a month or two left, and I'm happy to still have it. No, I did not finish this goal, but I did my best, and there's really not much left. Next up is the L'Oreal 4-in-1 Tinted Balm. I had the goal of finishing this product. I used it 14 times in the month of January, 10 times in the month of February, 7 times in the month of March, 8 times in the month of April, 7 times in the month of May, 9 times in the month of June, 9 times in the month of July, 10 times in the month of August, 8 times in the month of September, and 17 times in the month of October before I finished it. But for a while, I did not think that this was going to happen. I was spending a lot of time in the earlier parts of the year focusing on other base products in my project pan and just in my collection in general. I just wasn't sure if this one would actually get finished, but slow and steady use over the year. I used it 99 times overall, and that was enough in order to finish it. So if you start this year with a base product that you're just not sure is ever going to get out of your collection, just know that even 10 uses a month can go a long way in finishing the product up. I really liked this product. I don't think that I would repurchase it. It didn't do much for me. The coverage is very, very light. And while I do enjoy a lighter coverage in my base products, this was almost to the point of nothingness. Like, why would I choose to put this on my face? Maybe I could have layered it up. I guess I just have other base products. My MAC Face and Body comes to mind that I feel like provides a very light coverage as well, but does a better job of layering when I need it to. Enjoyed it while I have it. Happy to have it out. Second goal finished. Okay, now we have a blush, the Shiseido Colorfusion blush in the shade Aura Pink. I had the goal of finishing this blush as well. I had many blushes that I rolled into my project pan, as you all know, and this was kind of the last one to completely finish. I used it 7 times in the month of January, 3 times in the month of February, 5 times in the month of March, 8 times in the month of April, 4 times in the month of May, 4 times in the month of June, 8 times in the month of July, 7 times in the month of August, 4 times in the month of September, 8 times in the month of October, 9 times in the month of November, and 12 times in the month of December. There are a lot of months in the year. Each time that I read out these list of numbers, I'm tired by the end. That's a lot of use. 79 uses overall, and as you guys can see, I finished it. I accomplished another goal, another blush goal, mind you. I don't know what I was thinking. I rolled in so many blushes to finish and pan. Guys, I've been layering the blush. Believe you me, I have really been layering the blush this year, almost to the point of burnout, which we'll get to. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about plans for next year. Yeah, a lot of blush. A lot of blush has been used this year. I don't know that I have much more to say about this. Won't be repurchasing, have plenty of blush left to use. Third goal met. That's a check. That's a check mark. Alrighty, the e.l.f. Stay All Night Setting Spray. I had the goal of finishing this setting mist. It's the only one in my collection, so it wasn't difficult to do. It was kind of just a matter of time. Did I finish it? 18 times did I use it in the month of January, 12 times in the month of February, 14 times in the month of March. I used it 3 times in the month of April, 7 times in the month of May, 2 times in the month of June, 6 times in the month of July, 10 times in the month of August, 6 times in the month of September, 8 times in the month of October, and 2 times in the month of November before I finished it. 88 uses for me to empty it. Yes, sirree, Bob. I did that. Now the MAC paint pot in the shade Groundwork. I had the goal of using this product 100 times. I didn't have much usage on it in the earlier parts of the year, even though I feel like it had been around in my collection for a while. It's one of the older items that I own. So I just wanted to get some usage on it. I used it 16 times in the month of January, 18 times in the month of February, 13 times in the month of March, 8 times in the month of April, 17 times in the month of May, 6 times in the month of June, 5 times in the month of July, 6 times in the month of August, 9 times in the month of September, and 2 times in the month of October before I completed my goal. I used it 100 times overall in this project, and I feel like the usage is definitely there. I mean, you can see the difference start to finish, which is always fun. And overall, I just really got a sense of the product, which is one reason why I love project panning. I just like knowing the things that I have, knowing how I like to use them, knowing how they work best for me. I don't know, aren't our makeup products kind of like friends? I just want there to be familiarity there. I don't want to have things in my makeup drawers that I don't know and that I don't use and that I don't enjoy. I don't want that. So I really liked having this in the project. Another goal completed. All right, now a whammy. We've got the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel. This is a massive bronzer that originally when I rolled in, I set out to use 100 times. And then somewhere along the way, somewhere in the process, I lost my mind and I said, let's finish this baby up. I used it 7 times in the month of January, 31 times in the month of February, 21 times in the month of March, 19 times in the month of April, 12 times in the month of May, 28 times in the month of June, 22 times in the month of July, 17 times in the month of August, 15 times in the month of September, 25 times in the month of October, 27 times in the month of November, and 34 times in the month of December before I finished it. Before I finished it. Has the usage of this bronzer made me crazy? No, you're crazy. No, you're crazy. I finished it. 34 uses in the month of December. How did that happen, may you ask, when there's only however many days there are in the month of December? Well, I was really pushing for it. I was using it on my eyes. I was using it on my cheeks. I was using it on my forehead. I was using it wherever bronzer can be used because I was dedicated to this task, which worked out for me. I only lost about this much sanity and I did it. I did it. And it feels very good. I enjoy the product. I will not be purchasing it again. It is by far the most expensive bronzer that I've ever purchased. And I don't know. Worth the cost is a very interesting question. What is worth it to me is going to be very different than what is worth it to you. I can only speak for myself. And I just think for me, I can purchase bronzer for less that I like a lot more. I think that that's where I've landed. I love that there is so much product in there. I am really not crazy about luxury makeup brands that have a really high markup, but about this much product in a bottle, luxury makeup execs, what are you doing? So I do appreciate that about the Chanel. It took me forever to finish this bronzer. There's a lot of product in there, but even so, I'm just not gonna go out and spend, what is it? It was $50 maybe when I purchased it. I think I got it on sale, but still, no. That's it. I did it. I finished another goal, accomplished another goal, and this one feels good. Alrighty, now another bronzer, I think the only other bronzer that I have left in the project is the RMS Buriti bronzer. I have the goal of using this one 75 times. This is a tippity top favorite in my collection, and so I was a little bit hesitant to overuse it, but that's just the way we feel about our favorite things. Do you guys ever feel that way? Like, I love it so much I don't want to use it. I put it in because I wanted to get use out of it and enjoy this thing that I love. I used it 5 times in the month of January, 0 times in the month of February, 9 times in the month of March, 15 times in the month of April, 9 times in the month of May, 3 times in the month of June, 0 times in the month of July, 11 times in the month of August, 0 times in the month of September, 8 times in the month of October, 10 times in the month of November, and 5 times in the month of December. Before I accomplished the goal, I used it 75 times overall over the course of the entire year. I haven't finished it yet, which again, that wasn't part of my goal. I'm so happy to still have this bronzer accessible to me. I completed another goal. It's great. This has been very satisfying, I must say. It's been tiring. There's a little bit of makeup burnout going on. Like I mentioned, we'll talk about it, but it is nice to finish some goals. Feels really good. 75 uses on this one. Check, check, check. Now we have the Kjaer Weis Cream Blush. Now we have the Kjaer Weis Cream Blush in the shade Inner Glow. I also had the goal of using this one 75 times. I used it 9 times in the month of January, 3 times in the month of February, 6 times in the month of March, 5 times in the month of April, 9 times in the month of May, 2 times in the month of June, 8 times in the month of July, 0 times in the month of August, 0 times in the month of September, 12 times in the month of October, 13 times in the month of November, and 8 times in the month of December before I hit that 75 use mark. This one was a slog, I have to say. I don't know what it is about this Weis formula. There are some things about it that I love, mainly how it looks on the cheek once it has been applied, especially this Inner Glow one. It has this iridescence and this lit from within quality. I have it on today and I don't know, there's something very natural and nice about it, but I don't love that the formula gets dry with the cold and then softens with the heat. I mean, it's fine during the warmer months because it is softer, but in the colder months, maybe our house is just particularly cold, I don't really know. It's not enjoyable to use for me, especially for the price point. I just don't like that it gets flaky and that I really have to warm it up and make it emollient. I don't want that extra hassle in my life. I'm not crazy enough about it that I think I would repurchase. Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Once it's out of my life, I might change my mind because the finish is so nice. But for now, I'm happy to have used it 75 times to know it a bit better, to get usage on something that I own, that I purchased. I think that's all I have to say on that. Alrighty, the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. I have the shade Mont Blanc, and I had the goal of using this one 50 times. This was another instance of, I don't know this product, I don't know it, and I want to know it. So I rolled it in for that 50 uses just to learn about it a bit more. I used it 8 times in the month of January, 0 times in the month of February, 9 times in March, 5 times in April, 6 times in the month of May, 2 times in the month of June, 0 times in the month of July, 0 times in August, 0 times in September, 4 times in the month of October, 7 times in the month of November, and 8 times in the month of December before hitting that 50 use mark. So I was able to accomplish the goal. It was a slog at the end. I don't know. It wasn't a slog, but I really had to be intentional about it in the months of November and December, just because of those multiple months throughout the year. 4 months? Yeah, 4 months where I used it 0 times. That didn't help me out in the last 2 months of the year. And I'll have to say, the pictures will show you, I cannot see a difference. I've used this product 50 times and I cannot see a difference. The pictures don't show a difference. I only use 1 pump at a time. I don't know if that's part of it. And also, I didn't own it for very long or hadn't used it very much before I rolled it in. So there was about as much product in there as you could expect from an almost completely full bottle. I don't really know if you can start to see usage on a thing until you get maybe to the halfway mark or until you really have use on it, like in the hundreds of uses. I'm not sure. I am not a huge foundation wearer, so I don't really have that kind of information in my head, but I just know for this one, I've used it 50 times and I feel like I can barely tell. I do enjoy it. I'm glad that I have it. I've learned that from those 50 uses, which is great. On to the next one. Seint cream makeup. This is one that I set out to use 50 times. It is a product that I didn't really think that I liked, and I just wanted to see if that was true. I wanted to figure out my feelings on it. I rolled into the project at the beginning of the year. I used it 4 times in the month of January, 4 times in the month of February, 0 times in March, 0 times in April, 2 times in May, 0 times in June, 7 times in July, 6 times in August, 8 times in the month of September, 5 times in the month of October, 7 times in the month of November, and 8 times in the month of December. As you can see, I had many months where I barely used it at all. I really was feeling like, oh, this might be a declutter at the end of the year. This is just not me. This is not the type of makeup that I prefer to use. But once I started to get into it in the final months of the year, once I was kind of pushed because I could see I'm not going to meet the 50 use goal if I'm not intentional about it. And so I just kind of tried to make it a focus item. And with that use, I did find ways that I liked to use it. One thing is just having a very light hand. Just a little bit goes a very long way for me, for the kind of coverage that I like. I think it is great for someone who is looking for medium to high coverage. It has a lovely finish every time that I use it. I think at the end of the day, I enjoyed having it in this project. I don't know. It might still be a declutter. I don't know if I would ever reach for it apart from a project like this. And I'm not sure that I want to own things of which that is true. For the sake of this project, for the sake of this goal, I met it and I'm happy about that. Getting down to the end. The Glossier Generation G in the shade Zip. A red lip I did roll into this project, even though a red lip I do not wear on a daily basis. I set out to use it 45 times. Wow, this is turning into like an epic. Rachel set out on her journey to use the red lip of the Glossier Generation G variety. In the month of January. Can you imagine if I just went through the whole thing that way? I'm gonna spare you. We're just gonna go about this the normal way. In the month of January, I used it 1 time. In the month of February, I used it 4 times. 0 times in the month of March. 1 time in the month of April. 12 times in the month of May. 8 times in the month of June. 3 times in the month of July. 4 times in the month of August. 0 times in the month of September. 4 times in the month of October, 5 times in the month of November, and 3 times in the month of December before hitting the 45 use mark. So I was able to complete my goal on this one, thanks mainly to those 2 months in the year where I used it 12 times and 8 times. I realized that I had been flagging. I had been slacking. I had been slacking on the use of this in the earlier months of the year. And I was like, I'm never gonna hit that 45 use mark this way. So I really put in a push there in the middle of the year and I'm thankful. December, Rachel is thankful. I only had to use it 3 times this month in order to hit that 45 use mark. I do like this red. I like it as a red. I just don't generally reach for reds. I think that that's all there is to say on the matter. I love the finish. I like the layerability. I like the pop that it gives. 45 uses, way more times than I probably reached for it in the previous year. I call that a win in my book. On to the very last product. This is one that I rolled in later than any of the other products. I rolled this in June. So I didn't have as much time and I kind of just wanted to see. I mean, I set the goal that I wanted to finish it, but really I was just curious, how much use can I actually get on this product? How much visible progress is it going to show only using it for about half of the year? I used it 28 times in the month of June, 27 times in the month of July, 18 times in the month of August, 14 times in the month of September, 25 times in the month of October, 26 times in the month of November, and only 10 times in the month of December. I haven't reached for it that much this month, partly because I've been traveling a bit and the packaging is broken on this Rimmel powder, so I don't take it with me when I travel. I just brought a compact powder that I have. That resulted in less usage this month. You can see how far I got. I didn't actually finish it. That was a bit of a stretch. It took me a whole year or more to finish the other powder that I have. It was a bit of a stretch to think that I could finish it, but there's a major pan on it. I have no doubt that I will finish it in the early months of next year. I don't know if this is a little bit of a sad way to finish, but I didn't necessarily meet this goal. Got a ton of progress, 146 uses since June. I think it's time to do our wrap up and see how I did overall. At the beginning of the year, I set out to accomplish 34 goals. How many of those goals did I actually complete? 32 goals. I finished or completed 32 goals out of the 34 that I set out to do in my plan to pan video. I would call that an unmitigated success. Some of you completionists might think, no, my friend, you still have the nudestix blush and you still have the Rimmel powder. You did not successfully complete your project pan. But for those naysayers, actually, no, you're all wonderful. No one is out there saying that. This is just a bit. You all are wonderfully supportive. And that is the reason, honestly, why I was able to complete 32 of the 34 goals that I set out to do. It was because I was excited to share it with you guys. There's been such a kind and encouraging response every single time that I've uploaded a Project Pan update. And it is 100% because of that, because of you guys, that I continued pressing on in the face of adversity. You're why I'm here today. Let's be real. It's true. I would have given up a long time ago if it was just me alone in my room doing a Project Pan by myself. Just stating facts. So what will my project pan look like next year? I have to think on this a little bit more. I'm going to take some time to figure that out. I know that I feel a bit burnt out on makeup right now, at least on the makeup that I had in this project. I've learned a lot from doing a project pan on YouTube, a public project pan for the first time. And one of those things that I learned is that there's a reason that people have 10 products that they're working on at a time, and that they only roll a new one in once they finish an old one. There's a reason for that. It's because working on 30 plus products is crazy. It's a recipe for burnout. It really is. It's not how I want to be using my collection. You know, it was totally fine for this year. I'm so glad that I did it. I'm so glad that I was able to meet so many goals. I don't regret that at all. But I did learn things about how I want to do things moving forward. So at least for the year of 2025, I think this is how it's going to be. Editing Rachel here. I think what I've decided to do for my project, we have a cat among us. Okay, you can get cheese. I think what I've decided to do for my project is a project by weight. So I've weighed every single thing. Marla, will you come help Emmy? Will you come help Lulu get cheese? I've weighed every single thing in my makeup collection, and I am just going to, every month or every 2 months, I'm going to weigh everything again. And I'm going to have particular goals about how many grams I would like to finish. I don't really know what is a reasonable amount of usage, like what's a good amount of usage, what's a poor amount of usage. I'm not really sure. And so I'm going to use the first couple months to get a sense of that. But I've weighed everything, and this is just going to free me up to reach for anything that I want to in my collection. And that when I reach for it, I'm going to feel like I'm doing something for my project pan, and to feel like I am getting use on all the things, that nothing is restricted or off limits for me to use, which of course it wasn't off limits last year. I still ended up reaching for my project pan items way more than the other items in my collection, and I just like to avoid that. So I've weighed everything. I'm going to come up with some, yeah, she's going to cut that. So I've weighed everything, and I'm just going to come up with some fun goals for how much I'd like to use, but we're doing a gram by gram situation, and that's it. That is my 2024 project pan, all wrapped up with a little bow. 32 goals met, and I have very few brain cells left to show for it. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Go into the drawer and get cheese. Go into the drawer and get cheese. You can do it. You have to open the doors and get cheese. Okay.